Whoa, what are you guys doing here? So yes, I'm finally doing this video after promising to do it like 6 months ago. That crazy goalie mask ranking just took so much out of me, but here we are now. I'm going to be ranking what I think is the best version of each team's jersey numbers. Which team has the best font, and not just that, which team has the nicest style, because many teams do have one of two very generic fonts, but sometimes they're styled better than others, with perhaps an outline going around, or the way that they use the colors maybe is different and better. So it's not strictly ranked based on font alone, but the font itself does play the biggest role in the ranking. And just because I think the font is the best doesn't mean the jersey it's on is the best, or that I'd prefer that font on their best jersey. Having a great font doesn't always mean it works. So this is a video on strictly the fonts and their style. Not on the jerseys themselves, but the fonts and their style. I'm also limiting it to current teams, but that doesn't mean their current font. So sorry to the Thrashers especially, I do love their font, but I'm going with current teams only. And yeah, teams, not franchises. Unless you consider the Mighty Ducks different from the Ducks. In that case, I'm counting the Mighty Ducks because I see it as the same team. But yeah, current teams, but I'm choosing from the entire history of that current team. Not the entire franchise history, but the entire team history. Now, I actually like every single one of these. It's every team's best fonts, and so there are no bad ones here. There are no bad fonts here. Even with the Philadelphia Flyers down this low in 32nd place, it's not because it looks bad, but it's because it's the most common font in the NHL in simply one bold color. The orange looks great on these numbers, but still, one solid color on the most generic font can only go so far, and seeing every other team's best, for me, this ends up actually last, but last on a list of the best. At 31, I have the New York Islanders alternate jersey. They also generally use quite a generic font, but here it's a bit different, and I've actually always loved the way these jerseys have looked from the back, so numbers-wise, I think these are the best that the Islanders have to offer. These numbers here, this font here, but not better than the rest of the teams, at least. I have San Jose's newest font higher. I was thinking about the font from their Mike Ricci, Owen Nolan, Vincent Domfus days, but I do think these are a bit cleaner and more appealing to my eyes. Even though that older font is a bit more unique, I still like this one better. At 29, I have the Kraken, who don't have much to choose from. Now their winter classics have not yet been publicly released like a Kraken would be, so I don't know if those are going to surpass this or not. I don't know that yet, but for now, it was between this and their reverse retro, and yeah, this wins. This totally wins. Next up is Arizona, and while I love the Kachina jerseys, I love them, I've never loved the font on the Kachina jerseys. I think this font is nice and sleek and is a lot better than the font that they have now for their jerseys. Now, our first really weird font, for that I have St. Louis. One thing you'll notice as we go through this is that I love very weird fonts. Not the Isles Fisherman font, no, but a lot of the time the weirder ones are just awesome to me, and so you'll see that later on. I love the fun and the uniqueness of this in particular. However, of course, this is an example of a great font that would never work on any other jerseys. So while I think this is their best font, do not slap this onto their best jerseys. Do not do that. They're fine how they are with their, more generic fonts. Next up is Florida, who have, again, a more generic font, but I've always loved the dotted texture within the numbers that they discontinued in 2021. I think that they should have this back because, I don't know, I feel like it looks lesser than they do now. Honestly, they should just switch their jerseys completely to the Leaping Panther, but you don't have to listen to me every time I say that, because I probably said that in every video. After that, We have Montreal with their classic font. Again, the font itself not being anything that special, but I do love the red outline and the blue within. I think it fits so nicely on the back and the elbows of that classic jersey. Another team that uses a more generic font is Chicago, and so for them, I went with one of their more unorthodox fonts, which I actually really like. The front of these jerseys were so boring, but I always really liked the way they looked in the back, so I'm a fan of this. Next up is Vegas with their glow-in-the-dark uniforms. Now, are they ranked higher because they glow in the dark? Maybe a few spots higher, but otherwise, I still do love the fun look of the font itself. And after that, we have Van City, and for them, I ended up going with their current font. I was thinking about using the skate jersey alternate style of that font, but I feel like I like the clean look of the straight blue numbers the best. I really like the look of this, and maybe I'm biased here because this is my favorite NHL team, but yeah, I've always loved this font. In fact, when I was younger, I downloaded it to use for typing sometimes, so I actually know what this particular font is. It's Agency FB, that's what it's called. I don't know the names of the other fonts, but if anyone knows the names of the other fonts for the other teams, drop them in the comments. I'd actually love that. I'd love to hear what the fonts are called, because I don't know, I couldn't find many of them. I didn't look that hard, I guess, but I couldn't find the names of a lot of them. But for this one, I do know it. It's Agency FB, in case anyone cares about that. So, yeah. 21st place goes to the newest Oilers jersey from the Heritage Classic, and yeah, to me, this just looks great. It's wider than your standard fonts, the colors get on well, and yeah, I think all around this is great stuff. Starting us off in the top 20, I've got Buffalo, another unique font that just brings back all those nostalgia vibes. Would this font be as high as it is without nostalgia? Maybe not, but it wouldn't be too many spots lower. It's still a really unique font that I quite love. Oh. What's Petey doing here? Anyways, number 19 is Ottawa's big chonky boy font. Legit, those twos especially look just so chonky. I've always really liked the Sens unique font that they had here. And sticking with uniqueness in Ontario, I have this round boy font from the Leafs. Not my favorite Leafs jersey or logo, of course, but I really do love this font. I think it looks kind of unique and cool, and yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. The guitar string font is next. I feel like this one is always a favorite. There's so much Nashville personality in it, and the look of it is great too. As unique as the font is, though, the font itself hasn't always been my favorite, but I love how it's worked, how it's styled, the creativity of it. It definitely lands it here at number 17, just under our halfway point, but still a decent spot for it. Our halfway point honor instead goes to the Rangers, who have a lot of nice, more 3D-like fonts, but my personal favorite of the bunch is the white Liberty numbers. I just love those colors, specifically in that classic 3D font. Really love it, really love it. Now, when you say unique jersey number fonts, one of the teams that usually pops into my head right away is the Kings. They have this kind of shorter, wider font that I think definitely deserves a spot in the top half of the rankings for sure. However, above them, I actually have a very, very generic font. It is generic, but man, I feel like when it's done in this particular way, everything just feels right. I just love seeing this font on the backs of Mighty Ducks jerseys. When they wore their reverse retro last season and then their anniversary jersey this season, I think it just looks so good seeing these numbers on the back. I just love it. So yes, it is generic font-wise, so I can only rank it so high, but there's not many jersey numbers I love seeing more than this. I'll just say that. I don't even know what to say for this. But anyway, the jersey numbers, the New Jersey may not be the best jersey, but the jersey numbers, do they ever look so good? I really love that. I think, you know, the red shade underneath really makes those numbers pop and stand out, and yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. In 12th, I've got the alarm clock-like numbers of the Reebok Cannon jerseys. I actually missed these on the back of the Cannon jerseys. It was so unique, and I just really appreciated seeing these on the ice the odd time, you know? I thought it was cool. Oh, there's Matt Sundin again. Yeah, the first time I played Dragon Age and saw Zathrian, I think that's what his name is, Zathrian, I was just like, man, it's Matt Sundin. Just right away, you go in the game and you meet Matt Sundin. That's what I thought. Anyways, looking at number 11, let's look at this. It's the Jets, and they haven't even worn this during a game yet, but just looking at it, the numbers just look incredible. In fact, the jersey itself looks incredible. I actually thought when I first saw it that it was supposed to be a Thrashers throwback, just because the Thrashers kind of used that baby blue color, and I was like, oh, is that what they're going with? But no, again, it's its own thing for the Air Force, but I just love it. I love the jerseys. Of course, I love the font. It's up here at number 11, and I think it deserves to be way up here. But now, we're getting into the top 10. And starting us off, I actually have, again, a very generic font, and it's like, I don't know. Am I doing that too much? You know, putting generic fonts too high above this. Look at this amazing font. Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, I don't know. I just really love the way that this looks. Yeah, it's the Willie O'Ree era Boston Bruins alternate jersey font. I just love the way the yellow goes around it. I think it looks awesome. And if they got rid of that higher stripe, I think the 2 stripes might be too much, but if they got rid of that higher stripe, I'd love to see a throwback to this jersey used by the Bruins. I think that'd be awesome. At number 9, we have one of the most unique fonts that I've seen, which was worn at the NHL game that had the most people ever attending. The Detroit Red Wings Winter Classic jerseys from 2014 have been such a unique font that actually had been used by Detroit before, however, not in this nice of a way. I think this looks so awesome with the off-white. I think it's just great. Number 8 is Calgary's German jerseys. I think their Blasty font takes this and makes it fat and weird. I'm not big on the Blasty font, but the German jerseys, German Titov, right? The German pedestal jersey, while maybe not the greatest jersey, definitely had, I think, the nicest font of Flames jerseys. That nice, sleek, slanted font. I really love it. I really love it. Also, even though I did a poll series on goalie masks with over 400 NHL masks, I still sometimes find some amazing ones that I haven't seen, like this tiger mask from Rick Tabaraki. So while I was looking at these Flames numbers and the Flames jerseys for the pedestal era, I found this picture and I was like, wow, that's a cool mask. So that was just a side note. But yeah, next up, and you may hate me for this. You might hate me already. But you might hate me for this as well. I don't care. I love it. We have Carolina's anniversary jersey font. I love this font. It goes back to their classic font. However, the outline here is a lot thicker, and I just really love how thick that outline is. I think it looks really nice, and I think it really pops well. But that's just me. Now, if you didn't hate me for that, well, get ready to hate me for this. My favorite font from the Tampa Bay Lightning is this. This is just so much fun. Like, how can you not love making numbers look like lightning? Right? I mean, I know maybe they're not yellow, but how can you not like that? I don't know. I just love it. Isn't this like what we all did when we doodled in school? Like, make numbers look like lightning? No? Is that just me? Maybe that's why I love this so much, but yeah, I always used to, doodle, and make lightning numbers and all that stuff. So I don't know, maybe why I love this. Maybe that's why I love this. But yeah, I'll put it at number 6. Is it biased? I don't know. I just love it. This is my list, right? So yeah, I'll put it at number 6, and I won't apologize. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry I did that to you. Not Let's look at the Neon Stars numbers, and while the jersey itself for me is more of a mid jersey, I think it's kind of cool, but nothing great. The numbers are great. I love the effect it has to make you think the inside of the number is popping out a bit. So again, maybe a little bit of a generic font, but I think this is the generic font that's done in the most unique and best way. So Dallas is the first to make it into the top 5. Ahead of them, though, are the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is maybe similar to the Jets font, like the Jets font that we used earlier. Though there are differences, you know, the 7, for instance, is not as pointy. There's some differences there. It's not the exact same font as we saw with the Jets, for sure. But I just love this. And I think the colors elevate it. You know, there's a little bit of off-white in there, which is very interesting. I think the blue outline just looks awesome. It looks a little bit 3D. I just absolutely love this. I think, you know, I think it's just amazing. The jerseys overall, you know, are very well loved. I know this might not be fondly remembered by Pens fans. Like, this game might not be as fondly remembered since it was the beginning of Crosby's woes. For a few years, he just really struggled. But these jerseys, again, they were just fire. They were fire. And I don't know if anyone really disagrees with that or hates these jerseys at all. But yeah, I think these jerseys are fire, and the font looked stellar cart. I love this. Now, the Colorado Avalanche have made their numbers look awesome by changing the color to this nice shiny blue. I know not everyone was a fan of that change. I sure was. I think it looks really nice. However, I cannot pick this font over their wonderful original font. This is so unique, and it just looks so good. I love the blue inner outline, if that's what you call it. I love how the font is shaped. You even have an arrow on the number 6 there that's just pointing up. Like, I just love that. Or is that, you know what? I'm just kind of noticing this now. What direction is that pointing? It's pointing, well, it's actually pointing, what is that, northeast? Yeah, so maybe that's not supposed to be pointing to a certain direction. Because I was kind of thinking that, like, oh, is that pointing west? But no, it would be east. It would be northeast. So I don't know. Maybe there's a place. I'm not sure. I can't think off the top of my head where Colorado is directly, Denver is directly placed inside of Colorado. Maybe, but I think it's more central, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I don't know. The arrow just looks nice. It's just a good touch, and I love it. But now I look to their division rivals in St. Paul. I love the 3D font of these North Stars inspired jerseys, and if you've seen my past jersey rankings, you know I absolutely love the red numbers on the Wild aways. These are some of my favorite jerseys overall. I love these jerseys so much. I know they're a little underrated by a lot of people. I mean, I know that a lot of people don't think as highly of these jerseys, and so they are underrated. I think they're underrated by a lot of people. But in terms of font, I have to give it to their original Wild font. I love how different this looks, and yet it still looks quite good in my opinion. I really like it. It wouldn't work with their jerseys today. I think those jerseys are a bit too clean for this kind of text, this kind of font, but I still love the Wild flavor that this font has. And just because something isn't clean doesn't mean it's not awesome. So this to me is second. But there is a font that I've always loved and always thought was the best. It may very well be the fanciest font, and if you can use a fancy font on your jerseys, like, that's always been a pretty cool thing in my eyes, you know? So I think this is awesome. And if you're going by a process of elimination, you may already know who the last team left is that I haven't mentioned. But yeah, let me keep you in suspense no longer. It's the Screaming Eagle jersey font, especially on black. I think it looks spectacular. I'm all for it. And Caps, use this jersey full time. Like, really, last season's reverse retro was unbelievably good and should be, in my opinion, their main jerseys. Great jerseys and a wonderful font that really works with this jersey. I don't know if this font would work a lot of other places, but here it just works so well. I love it. And so, yeah, here at number 1, we have the Washington Screaming Eagle jerseys. So that's my list. Like it if you like it, and let me know what your favorite fonts are in the comments. If you want to see more of my hockey rankings, you can check out the playlist here. And yeah, I think Matt Sundin is pretty awesome. So that's about all I have to say about that.